Hello, hello, hello. Okay, so this energy recently has been so incredibly intense. I've really been doing a lot of introspection. Sorry, I was like in the middle of getting high before I started this video, but I've been doing a lot of introspection recently. And the biggest part about right now is the introspection. It is all about coming together with what's lying inside and being able to surface that in a way that helps us embrace opportunity. And that can give us some forms of uncertainty. It can really bring us to this place of anxiety, of doubt. It brings us into this moment of hesitation within ourselves. So sorry, I just had some people who wanted me to tag them when I started this video. So when we enter these times, it is so important to be able to mold and focus ourselves to bring forth that energy that is underneath the surface. And we've seen a lot of this in 2020. 2020 has been all about bringing what is unseen to a external point of view, okay? And with this full moon we just had on Halloween, we opened up this very thinning area between us and the spirit realm and receiving intuitive downloads and intuitive messages and really getting us to a point of being able to become clear on our intuition and become clear in trusting our intuition more so, I think, is a better way of putting it, because it's always there. But since this full moon on Halloween, we've been listening more. We've had this gut instinct to be like, wait a minute, maybe I need to be paying attention to what's going on inside myself. And this has all been building throughout 2020. Every lunar phase we go through, every month we go to, calendar month, every celestial event that we go through, every collective event that we go through is pushing us further and further and further on this shadow journey, on this introspection journey. It's all about us seeing with our mind sight and our perception, our sight. And when we move into being able to see through our mind sight and our eyesight, we see through our own boundaries we've created. We see through the morals we want to stand upon. We are able to build on the foundations that we've laid for ourselves. And we took this full moon and we carried it into the new moon that we just experienced on the 15th a couple days ago. And with that new moon, a lot of stuff has come to the surface. So we're pulling everything we just talked about. And within that short period, going from that full moon on Halloween to the new moon we just had, we were able to take that clarity, take that trust that we found in ourselves and really amplify it and start pushing it upward. Okay, like I was saying about bringing to the surface through this introspection. Melissa, babe, what's up? So we're able to start pulling that trusted voice up and allow it to become vocal through our throat chakra, through our heart chakra, through our crown, through all of our spiritual chakras. We're being able to pull that unseen force out of ourselves. And this allows us to make stronger boundaries, to feel more aligned in those boundaries. We also, moving into the new moon, we pulled from that Friday the 13th energy. So we pulled from our divine feminine. And introspection, shadow work, all of that. Hi. I told you you'd have time for yoga. All of that comes together with the divine feminine soul. Yes, spooky. She's just like staring at me down there, like licking her lips. It all comes from the subconscious soul. Our shadow is a feminine spirit. Our spiritual self is a feminine spirit. That's so funny. Is our feminine spirit. Our introspection taps into our feminine spirit. The moon is a feminine spirit. So we moved into this new moon and we were able to trust all of that energy that was building throughout the phase. We were able to bring that, start pushing it up to the surface, which is exactly what we needed to do. Start solidifying that new alignment within ourselves as we move into this full moon and lunar eclipse on November 30th. Now, this full moon lunar eclipse is going to be absolutely monumentous, okay? It is opening a gateway that will last in energy for 3 months. So what is taking place now as we move into this full moon and eclipse, and what's going to take place on that day is really going to set the tone for the next 3 months. And that energy that you're in is going to carry on to the next 3 months. And that's why it's going to be so important. So decisions you're making, people you're interacting with, feelings you're having about yourself, about your subconscious, about your relationships, all of these are speaking from that feminine spirit, that intuitive spirit, what you're discovering during introspection, what is coming up with this newer, highly defined force that is within yourself. This full moon lunar eclipse is going to also be in Gemini, which is incredibly important, and it's going to relate to the changes and uncertainties in relationships and money. Now, if you are someone who has a moon practice, who has a lunar phase practice, you might see these things playing out in your life, like word for word, basically. And I personally can feel, as I was going over my notes for this day and everything that I want to talk to you guys about, I was like, oh my God, Jess, here we are, because this is your whole subconscious mind again, and everything in your life kind of just like bubbling up to the surface, which actually is, I always find it to be very funny, because it's this whole aspect of, you know, recognizing what's happening in front of you in the external world, okay? And then after that, and after having those thoughts, going and reading all these aspects and celestial energies and all of these type of stuffs, and being like, okay, well, thanks universe, way to show off, because like I get it now, the hints, okay, so on and so forth. They make a lot of sense, and they all seem to line up in a fashion that you cannot simply ignore. Spooky, stop it. She wants to be a part of everything I'm doing. So anytime, Melissa, that you have a aspect and that is illuminated, Spooky, stop it. Stop. That's not your feather. Sorry. My cat is fucking crazy. She just wants to be involved. Come over here and sit with mommy. Come over here. Yeah, so anytime in any chart, in any situation, in any form of astrology, you're pulling from certain aspects, and those aspects are going to be amplified. So anything that you have, come here. Anything that you have going on in Gemini is going to be amplified. You want to say hello? 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 Okay. Now relax while mommy finishes her thingy, okay? Stop playing with things. She likes to grab my crystals off my shelf and like swat them around the room. Okay, so what were we talking about? Oh, Gemini, 3-month cycle. Okay. So it's going to relate into changes in our uncertainty surrounding money and surrounding our relationships, especially our intimate relationships and our love life. And it's going to be a highly charged moon, and with anything, and eclipse, and with anything that is highly charged. Oh, I'm so happy that you love her. I love her too. She's a little spooky princess. Yes, she is. So anytime that you have a highly charged energy, you're going to start to feel everything, all the emotions and everything moving inside yourself. And when you have all of that movement, you're going to be able to feel that insecurity I was speaking about in the beginning of the video. You're going to be able to feel that doubt, that anxiety, and that uncertainty in general that comes along with all of that. But if we allow ourselves to grow and expand within that energy and pull from those messages that we're receiving, like, hey, I'm feeling all these things, but that means that I'm coming into realignment, that I'm releasing certain energies. If we are able to adapt and flow naturally with those messages that we're receiving and with those energies, we're actually unlocking and taking advantage of the bigger picture of opportunities that's available to us. And in those opportunities, we're able to improve our money situation drastically. And we're also able to improve our love relationship drastically by bringing it into the highest standard and the highest good. Because anytime we're faced with an adversity of some sort, or a conflict of some sort, or a combating reality between the inner and the outer, it's because we're trying to come into alignment. We're trying to find that balance within ourselves. And we are going to be able to do this by adapting and flowing with what the universe is bringing towards us with this full moon and eclipse that's going to be upon us on the 30th. So we are looking at the home, the family, intimate relationships. With all of those things, you see love, you see money, the two things mentioned before that are going to be amplified and going to come into focus. We have to let our emotions and our instincts really take the lead here because they're going to reach their peak stage during this eclipse. Like I was speaking about previously, you're going to have all of this trust in your clarity and your own intuition coming forward. And eclipses are a really good time to trust the direction that we're going, because they really lie out a opportunity for us to move forward and be about ourselves and know that what we're doing is protected and guided, okay? Our subconscious awareness is also allowing us to see clearly, like I was stating before, and it's letting us look more so at relationship dynamics. So we're looking at pieces that feel unbalanced in the relationship. We're looking at feelings that are causing disharmony. We're looking at any triggers that bring up imbalance, and we're also triggering inside ourselves a reset of emotions and a clearing of emotional baggage from the last 6 months. We're really going to be able to see our increased need for love come forward, as well as our relationship tension come forward, because when you are noticing your added need for something or your added desire for something to be able to be your highest self, that creates friction and tension because you might be evolving, but someone you're standing beside might not be. And they might be on a totally different wavelength than you can imagine yourself being on. So you're moving forward, you're noticing all these things. They're becoming clear, you're trusting in yourself. I have a cat hair or something on my face. I'm so sorry. So I keep like touching my nose. So you're allowing yourself to come into this realization, into this clarity. And with that, you're having this release of all these past emotions, and you're noticing disharmony, you're noticing imbalances, you're noticing your need for more and expressing that need for more because we're trusting our intuition more, okay? And in doing, oh, there it is. And in doing all of these things, it can create that relationship tension. It can create that intimate tension. Because like I said, if you are evolving and you have stagnancy next to you, that isn't going to be vibrating at the same frequency you are. So it causes that friction. It causes that tension, okay? It also highlights the deep imbalances involving emotional support, okay, and love. And you may be noticing the amount of love you're giving isn't the same that's being received. And this may be something that's been going on for a really, really long time, but you aren't in a place yet of noticing it and recognizing it and realizing what was actually going on, because all these different gateways, all these different lessons you had to learn, all these different patterns you had to go through again hadn't completed their cycles. You hadn't awakened those different parts of yourselves yet. So it might just seem like, oh, all of a sudden there's all these issues that are wrong. But it's not all of a sudden. These things have been going on, but you weren't trusting or seeing yourself clearly or seeing your perception clearly enough of the situation, of the big picture, like I was just talking about, to really recognize what was going on in front of you. And it takes that elevation, it takes that infusion of all those lessons we've learned to get to that point. And with this eclipse and full moon on November 30th, you are going to see all those imbalances very clearly. You're going to have all those different recognitions come up. You're going to start to notice, like, if you are, like I said, giving more love than is being received, if there is disharmony in your intimate relationships, in your love life, in the way that you hold money in your relationships, in your family dynamics are going to come into play, and you're really going to be in this place of being triggered to release that emotional baggage that you've been carrying. And if you're carrying any emotional baggage and you're listening to me talk right now, it's striking a chord with you. Because even just putting the notes together struck a chord with me. And you know what I'm talking about because you've been feeling it building for the last 6 months, since you started realizing yourself, since you started your shadow journey, since you started looking into these different areas and trusting these different aspects of yourself and growing and allowing yourself to be committed to growth. you've noticed these things come up, and now they're really taking that surface. The unseen is becoming seen. Okay? Hell yeah, babe. Love that. Okay. So this lunar eclipse aligns with the brightest star in Taurus, the eye of the bull, okay? And it's very favorable for business. And it's favorable for business because we have that spark, we're seeing clearly, and we're trusting within ourselves. We're also in the eclipse energy where we can find faith in being guided in the right direction and protected. It can cause stress, like I said, because you're taking that leap, you're experiencing those insecurities, those doubts in yourself. However, it does bring success in making money if you are able to do the shadow work and integrate and understand the root reasons why things are happening, like I was stating previously, and you're able to adapt and flow within those changes and make them your own and use them for your power. Shadow work is a main key, and like I've been saying, this darkened part of the year is huge. 2020 has been huge for shadow work, and it is only going to continue to grow. I mean, we only have a month and a half left, and this month and a half is going to just be such a launching point for the rest of our lives and the rest of our existence if we are ready to take that step within ourselves and within our souls, okay? So it is a time of leaving what is safe and comfortable in order to grow more fully into ourselves. Like I was saying, you are seeing things, you're feeling things, you're evolving on a different level, and you can no longer continue to grow and continue to be empowered when you are trapping yourself inside things that are at a different frequency than you, at a different alignment than you. It's just, it's impossible, you know, especially if you have emotional baggage there, if you have friction of energy there, if you have morals and foundations that are no longer who you are. And just while I'm talking about this right here, I want to put out there for you, in case anyone forgot, because I tend to forget constantly, but it's okay to change, and it's okay to not be aligned with things anymore, and it's okay to want more for yourself, and just to completely have a whole new ideal on life and on yourself and higher standards and more defined boundaries. Like, that is okay. And I know that it's all, oh, I'm at this point in my life, oh, I'm in that point in my life, I should be doing this. Like, oh, it's not okay just to switch everything around. Like, you need to put more in, you need to communicate more, or you need to work harder at something. But you're the only one that knows how much of something that you can continue to spend your energy on. And if your energy can't take it anymore, it doesn't matter what the fuck society has put out there and said for you. You need to step out of that zone and leave behind what doesn't align with your frequency, because if you're allowing that to stick with you, your frequency doesn't raise when you're with someone that's, or not with, or surrounded by people that are lower than you. Your frequency comes down, okay, because they feed off your energy. So it might allow them to come up, but every time they feed off of you and you give more than you get in return, you're lowering your aura, you're dimming yourself, okay? And you never need to be in a situation where that happens, because you are violating your truth and your authentic self, okay? You tell that was a really personal moment for me. Felt like I was kind of just talking to myself, giving myself a pep talk. All right, so what are we looking at now? Okay. Eclipse, this is another reason to have faith. Eclipses bring about events that are part of the cosmic plan, which is why you can trust their direction, okay? You can take the time while walking that cosmic plan to reflect upon your life and see what needs to be forgiven within yourself and within others, as well as what needs to be let go of. Some situations, you know, you need to forgive and change your thought process on. Some things you need to let go of, and there's a big difference between those things, and you're gonna know in your gut what those are. And that's why trusting your intuition right now is so incredibly important, especially as we continue to move forward. Because no matter what circumstance you're in, if you can be aligned and holding true to your foundations within yourself, it doesn't matter, because everything else will be taken care of. You just need to be taking the actions as an individual, okay? Yeah, me too, girl. The letting go. And I gotta tell you, when it comes to the letting go, it's really hard because you are walking into completely uncharted territory. Like, you haven't been there before. You have past recognition of how events like that go. And, you know, you're kind of just like, holy fucking shit. But you can be like, holy fucking shit. You know what I mean? Yes, I get to do this, that. Like, I get to shape this new foundation. I get to build my empire. I get to construct my castle. You know, it all is the state of mind and the focus. So if you can start filling your voids or doing things that make you feel whole as an individual, even in a situation that is making you feel the complete opposite of whole, you are putting out that energy to get that independence back. And that is what is going to hold the frequency to bring about the things you want in life. Because you're allowed to feel nervous, you're allowed to feel anxious, you're allowed to feel sad, you're allowed to feel whatever the fuck you want. But it's what you do with those feelings and how you understand them and how you relate them to what you're going to do moving forward and how you're going to be resourceful and adaptable within them. Okay? And that's why this eclipse and full moon is going to be so powerful, because the universe is laying out these energies for you to tap into and you to realize about yourself, to draw from them, alchemize them based on your reflection, your story, your shadow journey, and turn them into the most empowering aspects of your life. Okay? And that starts today if you want it to. So, embracing change and honoring our life cycles. Okay? Let go of an emotional experience that you have outgrown and anchor yourself inside the maturity, the higher standards you've learned in the previous cycle and phase. Okay? So, everything that you've learned from this phase of the moon, from the full moon on Halloween, maybe bikini, from the full moon on Halloween all the way until now, until this full moon on November 30th, take everything you've learned, all those hints you've gotten, all those divine downloads, all those messages, and you need to let go what doesn't align with those and what you've outgrown, and anchor yourself, ground yourself inside everything that you feel to be true, because that is what's going to break your chains and set you free. And that's what's going to allow you to grow in the greatest light that you possibly can, and in the greatest awareness and understanding. So if something needs to come to an end, you can call upon the eclipse to make it concrete inside the external world. So what you can do is you can light a candle. If you have one of my enchantments, highly recommend lighting one of those. You can also purchase one of them. Light one of those candles, say a spell, say whatever comes to your mind, but then write down what you need to let go of on a piece of paper, okay? Burn it with your enchantment, with your candle. If there's any ash or anything left over from the paper, collect that, and then plant it into the dirt, or just put it in some soil, mix it up with some dirt outside, and give it back to the earth, okay? So feel it, illuminate yourself, burn what you're letting go of to release it. Any ashes that are left, plant back into the earth, give it back to the earth, okay? Super duper duper important. Like I said, this is going to be a 3-month gateway, so this is going to bring us into the new year. It's going to bring us to about February, and it's really important to remember that change makes us all uncomfortable. It does, because like I was saying, it pushes you into the unknown. It makes you look at your past. It makes you look at the mistakes you made, the patterns you've been in, the cycles you've been in. And it brings up fear. It brings up anxiety. It brings up guilt. It brings out doubt. And that's why shadow work helps you navigate this terrain and these territories, because you start to pick up on these messages, and you know your cornerstones. You know your foundations of your shadow. You know how your shadow speaks to you. Hell, you've given your shadow an identity that you speak to, so you have that open communication with your shadow identity. You're able to embody her. You know how your subconscious mind works, and that's why it's such a tool to be using in this darkened part of the year, and especially as we move towards this eclipse. it gives us this effective, deep awareness that allows us to adapt and flow inside the unknown, inside our truths, and inside those feelings of the external world that I was speaking about. It allows us to take those feelings that seem less than, and alchemize them. It allows us to tap into the pieces of ourselves, into our hidden talents, into our most trivial moments that gave us the most strength. It allows us to tap into those and know what tools we need to pull to elevate the current journey we're on, because we know how to recognize the triumphs of our past that are kind of hidden in cobwebs, you know? So it's kind of like pulling something out of a box that you haven't seen in a really long time, but as soon as you do, you get this feeling like, oh yes, I can do this. I know what this means. And that's why the shadow work is so important to this navigation and this journey, and this whole introspection mentality, and where the collective's going, where we're going as individuals. It's just that raw tool to use, and real change requires us to be conscious and understand our emotions and feelings. And to evolve, we have to understand our whys of ourselves, of our situations, of our moments, of our life. And we have to be able to trust whatever is unfolding in our lives as if it was part of the natural cycle of transformation. You know what I mean? So we have to, instead of being like, oh fuck, this is happening, be like, oh no, this is just part of my journey. This uncertainty, this change, these feelings are just all part of my natural flow, my cosmic plan. Everything that I'm feeling, everything that I'm saying, everything that is being delivered to me and is being received is all part of that plan, and I'm being guided and protected walking it. And I know myself because I've examined my shadow. And I know the darkest parts of myself because I've examined my shadow. So what's really going to scare me in this world? I've been through the scariest parts of myself, you know, and when I say scary, I just mean like guilt and doubt and like shame and all of that. Like those are really scary things to conquer. And if you've conquered yourself, I mean, like what else is left to scare you, really? And it's just going to be this very, very powerful time coming up. We also have this female Lilith awakening energy that's happening on December 19th. This sexual transformation of divine feminine power that's going to hold some just really incredible beauty, especially for, you know, our own boundaries. Because when you are able to balance within feminine energy, no matter if you are a man or a woman, you're able to balance within flow, balance within intuition. You are able to feel emotion and infuse emotion. And that's all part of the process. And having the resources to be able to embrace and do that is such a powerful expression. And it's all about moving forward into the next step. And that's what this full moon and eclipse is going to take us to. So starting right now, what you really need to do is think about everything that I mentioned, and think about that voice in your head. Think about that gut feeling. Think about what doesn't feel in alignment. And you need to take the steps to get there. Take the steps to move into this new light and into what works best for you, and anchor into what you know, and free yourselves from the chains that are holding you back. Because we've all spent too much time waiting. And if this year has showed us anything, it's that, you know, you never know what's going to happen in the world. And you need to have yourself. And you need to know where you stand within the universe, within your sphere, within your energy. And you need to know what you want for yourself. And you need to know how to fill your cup. And you need to know what it means to be you at your most authentic core, without all the garbage of society thrown on top of you. Because without being able to understand yourself, you can't fucking understand a goddamn thing in the universe. Like, you don't know why you react the way you do. You don't know why you have the thoughts you do. You don't know why you're in these cycling things. You don't know why you're addicted to certain things. You don't know why you can't wait to drink if you had a good day or a bad day. You know what I mean? And it's just, it's so just like heartbreaking to think about the fact that some people walk around life and don't know who they are and haven't gotten there yet, or don't want to be there, or don't believe they can be there, and continue to make excuses because Everything you need is right in front of you. Everything is below your feet. Everything is within the stars, within the people you exchange with. And every single person you meet, you never know what they're going to unlock for you. And you never know what opportunities they're going to lay at your doorstep. And you don't want to wake up one day and be like, fuck, what am I still doing here when I could be up here? When I could be whole here? What am I still doing down here? You know what I mean? And it's going to be an incredibly powerful time, and I'm just so excited that I was able to get all this together to really share with you what is happening in the cosmos. And of course, this is all going to lead us into our solstice season of Yule, where we get all nice and witchy, and we chill, and we call upon the darkness turning to light and protection. We get ready to plant and embody and become a part of ourselves. But first, we have to make it through this darkened part of the year. We have to make it through the remainder of gaining our sight vision and altering it to find our perfect prescription to see the world around us. And for everyone, that's something different. For me, it's fucking shadow work. That was my prescription to see the world clearly. And I think it is truly the most authentic journey you will ever take in your whole entire life, because it allows you to walk away confidently, stand confidently, know that within yourself you can co-create anything that you desire. It's just so fucking magical, you know? All right, everybody. Well, have an absolutely fantastic evening. Oh, and thank you so much to everyone that has purchased one of my enchantments. I really fucking love being able to infuse this magic that I talk to you guys about so often into a physical object that you can use in your own practice, because that beauty of sharing magic across the earthly plane, across timelines, across, you know, just the spiritual realm in general, and bringing that into the external world, I think is such an unbelievably beautiful experience to be a part of. So super fucking grateful for you. Totally appreciate all of you. Any questions that you have pertaining to anything we have going on in Divination Dreamer right now, you know where to fucking find me. Or just, drop a comment here, whatever you prefer. We do have a lot of stuff going on right now, so I know it's been kind of a lot to keep up with. Like I said, I've had a lot of introspection, a lot of life over the last 4 months, and I am definitely a completely different person now than I was in June, in every way, shape, and form, and in the best possible way that I could imagine. So it is my wish for all of you to be in the exact same, I don't know, energy that I've been feeling recently, because there's nothing like it. And I wouldn't trade it for the fucking world. Even with the chaos, like, at the end of the day, that energetic seed, that flame, it's all you fucking need to keep the light going. Alright guys, have a great night.